Hello, hello, everyone. Thanks for dropping in. You've reached Healing Body, Mind, and Soul, and I'm your host, Aeriol Ascher. Today, I have the honor and privilege to be with my friend who I've been trying to get on my podcast forever. Not forever. So today, I'd love to introduce you to Wendy Baldwin Hargett. And she's so amazing. We met at an NLP training, and it was back probably in January 2020, before anybody knew about any COVID-19 or anything, perfectly normal. So it was great. But I just clicked with her and I loved her energy and invited her on the podcast. And then finally, now fast forward, here we are at the time of this recording in July, right? And we're finally getting a chance to connect. So right before we were recording, Wendy and I were talking about how much stress is up in the world. And so I just think that she's the perfect person to be on today and share with us about stress and how to manage stress. For those of you that are spiritually sensitive, for those of you who are newly spiritually sensitive, because stress has erupted so much of this on the planet for so many people, I think that you're really going to want to lean in and hear what Wendy has to say. Wendy, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Aeriol. I'm so excited. Yes, we have been trying for a while to connect. Everything in perfect timing, right?
Everything does come in perfect timing. You know, the more we had the shelter in place thing, the more I saw, well, I'm really happy. I'm where I'm at. I'm so grateful. Everybody's healthy and happy in my camp. How's everybody doing in your neck of the woods?
Actually, everybody's doing really well. Yeah, we're all staying positive and being mindful, following the rules. So we're doing good.
Great. Well, I'm sure that any community around you, Wendy, is going to be touched by your amazing energy and be uplifted by your energy, and an aura of positivity will exude, right?
Oh, thank you. Back at you.
Let's talk a little bit about stress, because I know it's an area of expertise for you. And I would love to know, how do you serve your clients who are stressed out? Like, what should people do? What should our listeners do? I mean, these are stressful times, kind of, right?
Well, they are. They're more stressful than normal. And this is one of my favorite topics. I know it sounds crazy, but talking about this subject really lights me up. Stress nearly killed me. And learning how to manage stress and actually, get rid of it is been a passion. And I love helping people with this topic. Some ways that people can manage stress at this time, especially, I love your audience, Aeriol, because people are finding out that they are, like you say, energetically sensitive. And those of us who are energetically sensitive, we take on more energy of what's going on. Therefore, the stress that is going on in the world right now is compounded within us. That means that we need to take extra care. A couple things that can be really helpful is, as simple as it sounds, is to take a few moments every day, at least once a day. If you're feeling really the crazies, more than once, is to ground yourself. There are so many simple ways to ground yourself. That is, if you're not familiar with that, it's just taking a moment and closing your eyes, going within, and just pretending, using your child's imagination, that playfulness, get in touch with that younger version of you, and pretend to bury your feet. And you can imagine these roots coming out of the base of your body, and just have those grow down into the heart of, I say, Gaia, or the earth, whatever feels good for you, and just anchor in. And I call that peace and that love and that ability to shake things up that no longer serves our highest good, and just draw that energy up. I like to say, to my feet, because I'm in gratitude every day for the ground that I walk on. And just continue bringing that energy up through all of your chakras, if you're familiar with chakras. And if you're not, that's okay. Just bring it up through your core, through your torso, and up through your head. And then if you want to take this a little bit further, you can also open up yourself energetically, again, using your child's imagination, and just imagine bringing in whatever feels good to you, like a golden light, a white light, source energy, and just bringing that down into you. And that really helps you to feel more peaceful and more relaxed and more in control. That is
absolutely. And it's something that we can do anytime ourselves. Like this tool walks around with us. By the way, I love that you say Gaia. I do too. Yes, you are in the right place. I'm telling you.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah. So remembering to take a moment to go through that process and to consciously do that. You know, something that interesting happened as far as grounding. Can I share a little story here?
Absolutely, I'd love to hear it.
Something that I got really excited about grounding, because I do energy work, and so I have a process of this grounding and other energetic practices that I do. But we were thinking of doing some landscaping at our house. Like, it seems off topic, babe, but bear with me here. So we were thinking about doing some landscaping at our house, because we're like, oh, do we really want to keep this grass here? Maybe we should just, you know, and I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I was at the moment so cynical that I'm like, oh, we could just put concrete there. Right? There's a little patch of grass. It's not that big of a patch of grass. It's really not that big. It's only maybe 5 by 5. It's just a piece of the front yard, but it's not connected to anything else. And that's it's like this little oasis by itself. I'm like, do we need to pay to water that? You know, the practical stuff.
Right.
But during the pandemic, I have this new ritual. And I walk out to the mailbox, and I'm always barefoot because I do body work and energy work, and I just like to feel the ground underneath me, right? And I walk on that little patch of grass, and I'm like, oh yeah,
yes,
we need that.
Yes,
we need that. I thought I was cynical because I'm like, oh, I've got it in my body work or whatever. But that connection to nature, albeit that tiny patch of grass to put my feet on and to connect energetically, literally to the earth, right? That is so important. And that energy of the plants, you know, real important to sync ourselves up with that divine intelligence, isn't it?
Absolutely. You know, even something as fun as hugging a tree.
I know.
You don't have grass, find a tree, go to a park. Yeah. So
hug a tree. Right. Yay, tree huggers. Yay. You know, I had a wonderful guest on the show who the ultimate tree hugger. She lives in Yosemite, and she's a steward. She talks about the trees. She wrote books about the trees, and for years her family and her have been sharing oral tradition about the trees. So important, isn't it? Amazing.
Yes, it is.
So besides this grounding and connecting to Gaia, Mother Nature, and this energy, what else, Wendy, do you like to suggest, or what do your clients come and see you for to relieve stress in their lives?
Something that is really simple that I start all of my sessions with is to close your eyes and take some breaths in. And with every breath that you take in, again, I like to make things playful. So again, just calling in your child self, your imagination, call in your energy, call it back. Call your energy back from conversations. If you watch the news, call it back from the news. If you've gone somewhere in your car, call it back from all the people that you passed as you're on your drive. Call it back from your family, because as you know, Aeriol, we're all energetic beings, and as we go about our day, our energy gets dispersed. And it's so important, and it's so simple and so powerful to just take that time, breathe in your energy, and as you're breathing in back your energy, you will notice how much more calm and solid and secure and safe that you feel.
Right. And by the laws of the universe, energy must comply. So it automatically comes back. Or sometimes, did you ever watch the Roadrunner cartoons?
I love those, yes.
Okay, then you know what I'm talking about. I just want to make sure. If my audience doesn't understand, you've got some Googling to do. But Wendy and I are on the same page here. So like, you know, Wile E. Coyote would have those big Acme magnets.
Yes.
Yeah, get one. If we could all just have one of those in our backpack, right?
Yes.
One of those big magnets and say, hey, energy, come back. Everything that is mine, come back to me, right?
Yes.
Everything that's not mine can just disappear.
Yes.
And Mother Nature will put it back where it belongs.
Yes, absolutely.
What a beautiful filter, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. And you could even have the intention that any negative energy that you pick up, other people's energy, because we do pick up other people's energy, you can just set that intention of releasing that. And like you just said, giving it back to Mother Nature, you can give it back to, you know, to source energy with love and to transmute that into love. And that feels really empowering and really peaceful when, whether, you know, you're taking negativity, but you release it with love.
Mm. Mm. That is a great way to clear energy. Thanks for that gem, Wendy.
You're welcome.
I'm sure that our audience will put these tools to use right away. Now, we're talking about clearing energy for stress, Wendy, but what can they do to keep from taking on this energy? What is a good way to protect oneself, or to discern how what to take on or what not to take on?
Great question. There are a couple things, and I'll give you a couple ideas, and you do what feels right for you and you know, in your belief system. One of the things you can do is, just after you have grounded and called back all of your energy, is you can set the intention. You know, Aeriol, about the power of intention. And set the intention that you have surrounded your energy field, because as you know, we have our aura, we have this huge energy field. You can set the intention as, it can be a white light, it can be whatever it is that you want to surround you, to keep you safe. And with that intention, you can go about your day knowing that what is yours stays with you, and what is someone else's has to stay outside of that barrier. My personal belief is, I believe in archangels and Mother God and all this, what some people might call a little bit woo-woo, but this is me. And I like to set the intention of calling in Archangel Michael. I call him in and ask him to stand beside me, below, above me, below me, in front of me, in all directions, and to surround me with his blue light and his shield. And that always feels really good to me, to help keep things out.
I think that's great. I use angels daily. That must be why we clicked. I didn't plan on talking about angels in this particular segment, but definitely you have arrived, Wendy, at Woo Central, so it's a safe place. Yes, definitely my audience is in alignment with all of this. Archangel Michael is the first angel always that I ask my clients to start working with, because it's the one that most people have heard. It's just, you know, depending on their beliefs, like you say, depending on their belief system. Right. And I love that that blue energy, or that or I also use the blue flame of discernment, yes. Right?
Yes, yes.
The blue flame of discernment to sort of cocoon myself. Yes. Because if people are sensitives, and especially now that everybody's bugging out a little bit during stressful times, if you don't mind my saying so,
right?
You know, different days, different things happen, or people get angry, or, you know, depending if they're plugged into the media or social media, you know, right. It depends where people's heads are at, you know.
Right.
There sure is a lot of difference on the scale right now, more than I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Absolutely.
You know, I don't know about you, Wendy. I can't recall something, I mean, there have been stressful moments in history, assassinations, all of these kinds of things. But this is something that is, the stress is global, right? And so,
Right.
fighting amongst ourselves is ridiculous at this point. If you're, for the peace mamas in the house, fighting
Right.
amongst yourselves is ridiculous because we're stuck here, right? And that's sort of the meta and the micro, right?
And yeah, absolutely. A friend of mine said something, I thought it was very applicable. She said that how we behave and how we're handling this, what's going on, and like when we're stuck at home with our spouses and our kids, it amplifies what is already inside of us. And as crazy as this might sound, I see things like that as a gift, because when you don't know what you don't know, and when you get triggered by your spouse, by your kids, by the media, whatever, that is such a beautiful opportunity for you to go within and say, what am I really feeling? What is this really about? And you can do some amazing clearing. If you really want to get to the bottom of your stress, your anxiety, depression, overwhelmed, you got to get down to the core of the matter.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, this reframe might be a hard sell for some people in the middle of their stress, though, Wendy, right?
Absolutely. Sure, but we got to plant the seeds, Aeriol. We got to plant the seeds.
I love this. Yes. Yeah. So what do we do about that, Wendy? What do what if somebody is in their moment of their latching on their kids? I don't have children, but a lot of my clients have children. They're homeschooling. What do they do if they're at their wits' end? What's the checklist?
That's a really great question. And, it's different for everybody. First of all, you got to make sure that you're having self-care. And it's definitely a little bit more challenging right now. You got to have boundaries. When my kids are grown, I have grandkids, and my daughter, she has, 3 little ones at home, and trust me, she's calling me all the time because she's stressed because like you just said. And first of all, you got to breathe. Just breathe. As long as you're breathing, you're going to be okay. You got to have some boundaries. And even if that means having your kids go in their space for a little while, you got to take care of yourself. And again, my belief and my experience is going back to what is it that you're really feeling. Are you feeling, most people will start off with what is considered a safe emotion, which is called anger. Everybody can relate to anger. Anger is actually just an umbrella. It's an umbrella for the deeper feelings, and it can be really challenging to get underneath that umbrella and find out what it is that you're really feeling. And a lot of people it's expressed as anger, but it's actually fear.
How about fear is that delicate pink underbelly, right? That nobody wants to expose.
Right. Yeah. The secret part of that. Nobody wants anybody else to know that they're afraid or sad.
The tender part. Yeah, it's the tender stuff under. Anger is just that shield.
Exactly. Right. Because it's more socially acceptable to be angry than it is to be afraid or to be sad or to feel hurt or guilt, So it can be really helpful for somebody to ask, what are they really feeling? Because you cannot change what you don't acknowledge. And when you are willing to go and ask yourself, what am I really feeling? Then you can shed light to it. And it's so powerful, Aeriol. Sometimes simply acknowledging what you feel can transmute it. And it's like, it's okay that I feel this way. And this is something else. It's so important for people to understand that it's okay what they feel, because we're often taught to deny how we feel. Like when you're a kid, a lot of us were told, don't cry. You have nothing to cry about. Don't feel this way. Don't feel that way. Be quiet. Don't express yourself. And so we're all bottled up. And this
Yeah, and
is,
people get really judgy with emotions, right? If that,
yes, they do.
like, we judge our own emotions, but
Yes,
we judge other people's emotions
yes,
too. Oh, we make an assessment. I mean, as a society, right?
yes,
As healers, we're trying to coax all this out of everybody. But as a society, we're programmed to be judgy. And that was really difficult for me growing up as an empath, right? And
yes,
even doing a lot of advanced personal development work is all about the mental body, all about the mental body. And I'm like, but my feelings still hurt, and
right,
and they're in my body, and it hurts, right?
right,
You know, so there's all these different layers. There's not one silver bullet for everybody. But as an
absolutely.
empath, being energetically sensitive, I'm super happy that now the world agrees that the heart is intelligent, right?
Right, right. The heart takes on your most, your very first emotion. That's the first thing that comes in, is right through the heart, and it's distributed throughout your body. Your heart tells your body where to put that emotion, where to store it.
Yep, yep, yep. We love this. Such so juicy. I want to back it up a second here, because we touched on one topic, and I would love for you to just share with us a little bit about that. And that is boundaries.
Mm.
How can people that are in a moment of crisis, how can they set safe boundaries, or how can they keep from being in crisis? By, it can be preemptive, right? To set good boundaries so that there are not crises, but also, can you talk about this, about
Yes.
boundaries and how it shields us, and how to use that and where to put them?
Boundaries is something that most of us don't even know that we have the option of having. And it's taken in me decades to learn about boundaries. And first of all, what is a boundary? A boundary is like drawing the line in the sand. You know, it's like, you know, if you have this behavior towards me, then here's the consequences. And it's one of the reasons, I'll just talk a little bit about why we have poor boundaries. One, we're not taught about it. And a lot of us, we have very poor boundaries because we want to feel loved, to feel needed. And it makes us to feel out of control. To have good boundaries, first of all, it's important to know that you're worthy of having boundaries. So I'm kind of stumbling here. It's safe for you to have boundaries. You're still going to be loved. You're still going to be wanted. Because a lot of what I discovered is that's a lot of the very common theme that is underneath that. And
People pleasing thing.
yeah, exactly. Yes, being a doormat. So it's first, you know, determining that you're not going to do this anymore, because you got to look after yourself. And us women, especially, we are taught to just give and give and give and give and let people run all over us. And we have to start taking care of ourselves and drawing that line in the sand and saying, no, you're not going to treat me this way, whether it's your kids, whether it's your spouse. Setting boundaries with the news. Let's talk about that for a second.
Even
Talk about
boundaries with time limit, yeah, how much media
yes,
are you going to enjoy,
yes, yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes. Setting the timer, that is a really good boundary, and that is so important for your mental health, your energetic health. Um,
So
so
people can just play around with that. It could
you
be something that
can,
you could practice. You can probably learn to, probably even just the practice of saying, oh, I'm only going to watch, I'm going to limit this time
right?
exposure to this, and see how well you can stick to that, right?
That's right.
And then you have to be in integrity with yourself and the boundaries.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
an interesting exercise in boundaries, right?
Yes, it is.
I'm just making
And
this up as I go along, but this is an interesting it's an interesting topic, because really stress is when we've like just ingested too much stimulus, right? Or
that's
something.
part of it. You
What
know,
is stress? What is a definition of stress to you?
the definition of stress to me is when I see stress, like I see things in pictures. So,
Mhm.
so I see things like people pushing my button. And when you push your button, it's pushing that overload button. Does
Mhm.
that make sense? And then you kind of
Overload.
explode. Yeah. Then you just kind of go, ah, your whole energy field gets out of whack and nothing goes right.
Exactly.
You can't think straight. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I know you can't see all the hand movements, but
Yeah, well, we'll make sure that the video goes through on this one so that they can see both of us speaking out, and yeah, it's like scattered energy and everything. I think Wendy and I are on the same page here, but we're just trying to convey to our audience what we're saying, so we've turned into mimes.
Here we have. I have a question for you
Sure.
and your audience. Where did you learn to handle stress?
Ooh, that's juicy. I learned to handle stress through my own exploration in my healing career. I mean, I had to.
Yeah, so but when you were growing up, who taught you
I had
to handle
to.
stress?
I didn't have, oh no, there were no tools. And
Yeah.
triggers could result in verbal arguments, and not that the family didn't love each other, right? But there was a lot of, it was a loud environment, and we moved a lot. So my grandparents stayed, but my mother wanted out of that environment and was a young mother and moved a lot, so unstable. So it was a very stressful upbringing for me, especially as a sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
And at different times I had tough skin on the, but I had to reinvent myself a lot of times because I moved a lot. And then finally I decided to reinvent myself, and I realized that I really needed to be healing and learn how to have tools to combat the anxiety, combat any depression, right? If I got real quick in life that if I wasn't doing something, if I wasn't on purpose for my alignment with my purpose, that I
Mm-hmm.
became very, very depressed. And
Right.
sometimes I would suppress it for a long time and try to deal. So I think that all of the tools that I have acquired as a sensitive are and that I teach now as a practitioner are from my own from my own education. And I just hope that people that are also sensitive like that can really benefit from the path that I've taken and what tools worked, right? I think it's important, like, just use the ones that work.
Right, absolutely.
and you don't know until you try them. I think that my clients say all the time, something I would love to share is they go, "Oh, Aeriol does all this energy work stuff. Does this really work?" And I've said, "Well, only if you use it."
Right.
Yeah, only if you use it does it work. I have found over the years, yeah, absolutely it works. I've seen miraculous things happen and touched a lot of lives with this work that we do. It's
Right.
amazing.
Absolutely. Right. And
But we don't have skill. But you're right. Back to your question, Wendy. Nobody taught me. I was driven
right.
to learn.
That's right. Well, actually, somebody did teach you by default. They taught you like your parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you learned by default, watching your parents, watching your teachers, watching any other figures of influence.
Right.
And did they have a very good toolbox of coping skills? Sounds like no, because you as an adult had to go out on your path to find out. And that's something that I have yet to find a client who had a healthy education in stress relief as a child and as adults. That's why it's so important that we even stop and think, oh, what I was taught isn't working, because we're all going on autopilot by what we were taught. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that goes back to I spent a fair amount of my adulthood as an artist in schools and working with kids, and really wanting to even bring some of these concepts into schools, and sometimes not being able to because they're too woo-woo, but sometimes being able to sneak, theater is a great way to, be creative. Creative dramatics is a great way to get in there and to give kids different coping tools, physically, mentally, spiritually, even, you know, there's not really a lot of support in those areas in our education systems. And they keep taking out music and arts, which is a closer connection and gets us in that, you know, closer to that theta head state, that
Right.
you know, creativity juicy state. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to take the whole conversation into the educational system right now. I don't want to get on that soapbox right now. But it's a great question, Wendy. I don't know. In my upbringing, I can't think of very many situations where that kind of thing was presented. So it's a great thing to have somebody and a mentor or somebody to model those skills.
Absolutely. Yeah. So
People need
I
that kind of support.
Yeah, we do. And so I really want to thank you for having this platform to teach your clients about stress and the importance, and giving them a pathway to learn the adult way to manage stress, the mature way, the healthy way,
Right, the healthy way.
right?
Right. And you know, thank you so much, Wendy, for saying that. And on healing body, mind, and soul, we're really wanting to nourish every part, right? Like not just not this stress part is a little weird, you know, but metaphysics and all of these things are becoming more and more mainstream. So woo is the new normal. Like
I love
like,
it.
you know, woo is the new normal, I'm thinking. You know, I'm so happy that it's come around, and I'm so happy that there are educators and practitioners like yourself and myself, I won't give, to support people in this journey. And it's kind of exciting. We get to be more evolved as humans, right?
Absolutely.
At this time, we get to be more consciously awake. Wendy, before we finish up here today, I would love for you to share with my listeners how they can reach out to you if they wanted to hear more about stress release and about the work that you do.
Thank you. Well, I have a new website. I don't have all my information up there yet, but it's I do have some interviews that I did a few years ago on stress relief. My website is alignwithjoy.com. It's ALIGN with joy.com. And they can just click around there, find out more about myself. I also have a webinar on there that is all about the 5 shifts for releasing the anxiety, the overwhelm, and if you don't mind if I share my email, it's info@alignwithjoy.com. Again, I love talking about stress relief because I nearly killed myself with stress, anxiety, depression, overwhelm. I wrote a book about it, my transformation of that, the whole healing
tell us
process.
the title of your book, please. Don't forget to tell us the title of your book so that our listeners can get their hands on that.
Oh, thank you. The title of my book is Healing Your Soul in a Chaotic World, Defying the Odds of Sanity and Survival by Wendy Lee Baldwin. And it's available on Amazon and Kindle or paperback. It's also, if you don't want to go on the Amazon link, I have a link to it on my website on the About Us page. There's a little bit of information there. So it's my story of transformation of hope. And I just want people to know that if I can save myself from nearly killing myself with stress, anxiety, and depression, they can too. And there are powerful ways to do that. And I just want to be a beacon of hope.
You are more than a beacon of hope. You are a beacon of joy, Wendy.
Thank you. Thank you. You know,
Joy
it's really
and love and just fantastic energy. What a delight to spend this time with you. I'm sure that our listeners have gotten so many juicy nuggets that they can put to action in their life right away. And we'll make sure that all those links are in the show notes so that if anybody wants to reach out to Wendy or get her book, that sounds sounds juicy, doesn't it,
It
y'all?
is juicy.
We'll have those links in the show notes, so you'll want to lean in. Okay, Wendy, I just want to say thanks once more for spending some time with me and our crazy audience here, and for letting yourself be woo is the new normal. And just thank you for your time, really.
Thank you so much, Aeriol. I just want you to know, and all of your listeners to know, that just always remember that you are loved and that you matter.
Thanks, Wendy. Okay, everyone, that just about wraps it up. We're going to close it for today. Until next time, happy healing.